What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be talking about Avenged Sevenfold and their sixth studio album, Hail to the King. So, going back to their Nightmare album, during the writing process, their drummer Jimmy Sullivan, aka The Rev, tragically passed away, and they got Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater to not only finish recording the album, but he also toured in support of the album with the band. Um, but going into that, both the drummer and the band knew that this wasn't going to be a permanent thing. He was very much just a surprise last minute fill in, and he was gracious enough, like I said, to not only finish recording the album, um, but also did the tour. So going into their next album, they knew that they wanted a permanent drummer, um, more of an official bandmate, obviously, and they found one in Aaron, and I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not gonna butcher it. Sorry, guys. Yeah, his first name's Aaron, and so yeah, they found their drummer, and in typical Avenged Sevenfold fashion, it's said that each album of theirs kind of has a different sound, and they definitely wanted to do something different for this album. Um, they they not only kind of leaned on their influences for this album, but they went back even deeper and discovered kind of their influences, if that makes any sense. Kind of like if you have a teacher that you love, like who taught your teacher. Like for example, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully this sounds better. For example, if you're a fan of Metallica and you want to know who influenced Metallica, so you would go back to bands like Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and so on and so forth. So yeah, they really just wanted to not necessarily go back to sounds that they themselves have had, but just really wanted to kind of go back into the archives of metal. And what we got was this like classic, classic sounding heavy metal slash hard rock album, um, where everything's kind of based around a riff. They would find their main riff, and like that would be the meat of the entire song, and that's where it would that's where the song would build. Not necessarily anything too crazy, not something too complicated, um, not crazy drum fills or like five vocal harmonies on a song or anything like that. Um, what we got was a very classic sounding heavy metal slash hard rock album. So with that in mind, let's jump into the tracks. First song on the album is called "Shepherd of Fire," and it opens with this distant bell, and does that like two, maybe three times, and then you get this crackling of fire. Um, very much, very much almost like welcoming you into hell. I wouldn't necessarily say being dragged down, but just like you're seeing hell for the first time and you're just kind of looking around. It very much paints this picture, does very well at just that that imagery that you can't see, but you practically can. Um, and then the main riff comes in. It's still kind of distant. Um, Everything builds and gets a little bit louder and a little bit louder until the main riff takes kind of center stage. And there's just so many reasons why this is the perfect opening track, with the opening to hell to things just building and building until they just kind of come to the forefront, which is great in my opinion. Um, and Yeah, speaking on the topic of hell, this song, to the bare bones of it, is about temptation. Just any little thing that the devil can throw at you, whether big or small. Um, it just, yeah, like we're all humans. We all have desires. We all have lust that maybe we shouldn't have. And this definitely exposes them and kind of brings them into light. You know, whether you choose to listen to those voices or those temptations is, you know, up to you. And it definitely, that's definitely what this song is all about. And it does a great job. And then you get to the guitar solo. Um, wow. Um, I mean, just amazing. It very much reminds me of Tornado of Souls by Megadeth. And I know what you're thinking. I'm not saying that this song is this song is better than Tornado of Souls, because frankly it's not. I just don't want that to be the conversation. This solo reminds me of Tornado of Souls because when you think that the solo is over, you get something else great thrown on top of it, and it's just more and more greatness when you think that the solo's over and you've kind of heard it all, and then the solo ends and it's just like, damn, that was a really good solo. I'm gonna backtrack for just a bit in the intro because I totally forgot to mention this and I want to. The drums in the intro, and you get it after the solo, so I guess I could have didn't really have to backtrack, but the drums in the intro and the bridge after the solo totally remind me of Trust by Megadeth, and it's just a great tip of the cap that I love. It just it's it's a dark atmosphere in a different kind of way than Trust is, and I think that's pretty cool. And then after the solo, you get a little bit more lyrics. Just when you thought you've heard it all with this song, just in general. Um, but through the ages of time, I've been known for my hate. I'm a dealer of simple choices, because the right choice isn't always the easiest one. So I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, uh, damn good song, a damn good opening track. Okay. So next song on the album is called "Hail to the King," and this is the title track. Um, it starts off with this just kind of fingers on a small end of the small part of the fretboard, and I know it's kind of like a basic sort of riff, and you could kind of say this um, about a lot of riffs that are kind of in this style, but it kind of reminds me of Thunderstruck by AC/DC. It's just kind of cool. It doesn't like it's not like a blatant rip off or anything, and I'm sure like that guitar lick has been used tons of times throughout history. So like yeah, it just reminds me of Thunderstruck by AC/DC because I'm an AC/DC fan. Um, but yeah, the song itself is great. It's about like very once again very dark, about how the the justice system, I guess I guess you would call it the justice system of kind of medieval times. How if you disagreed with the king or like committed a crime, um, things were obviously handled very different back then. Um, Kind of off with your heads, sort of style, and the lyrics are great and they depict that very well. And then the solo happens. Solo's pretty decent. And then um, kind of in the vein of Shepherd of Fire, you get just that little bit more, little bit more taste of lyrics when you thought you'd heard it all. There's a taste of fear when the henchman calls, iron fist to claim it all. Once again, very just really perfectly describes kind of the medieval justice system, how things were very different back then, and they were a lot more brutal and this song um, greatly depicts that. Solid title track, very very solid song. All right, next song on the album is called "Doing Time." At least I believe that's the next song on the album. Yes, sorry about that, guys. Next song on the album is called "Doing Time," and there's not really an intro. I mean, there's this little guitar part, and then M Shadows does this like spoken word sort of intro. The lies of some men. If walls could talk to spill the lies, we'd see the world through devil's eyes. And then I was like, damn, okay. We're kind of kicking it into a gear that I like. I'm very excited for what's going to happen next. And then the verse happens, and it. So when this album came out, the band did like a 2 or 3 minute video on each song, kind of explaining it, and the band said that they wanted a very kind of cocky Guns N' Roses sort of vibe to this song, and I definitely get that. Yeah, the verses are them trying so hard to be Guns N' Roses that it just kind of kills my enjoyment of the song. They're not. It's not a Guns N' Roses vibe. It is them trying to be Guns N' Roses, and them going to their influences is fine, and just like kind of 70s, 80s stuff. But especially in the verses, and I just really want to drive this point home. But it's them trying to be something that they're not, and that's just how it comes across. It kind of comes across as just a cheap copy, and the verses just kind of ruin this song for me. The chorus is okay. You get more of that Avenged feel. But yeah, I mean, solo's decent, but the verses on the song just kind of ruin it for me, which sucks because I loved the spoken word intro. Obviously, I think that's the best part of the song, but I thought we were really going somewhere, and then we just kind of weren't. And then, I mean, even after the solo, lyrics like "a pretty little body to grind," like, I mean, that's Guns N' Roses. Like, that is Guns N' Roses. That's not Avenged Sevenfold. I love Guns N' Roses, but I enjoy these two bands for obviously very different reasons, and I want Guns N' Roses to be Guns N' Roses, and I want Avenged Sevenfold to be Avenged Sevenfold. So yeah, without talking about it too much, not a big fan of this song. I'm just gonna move on. All right, next song on the album is called "This Means War," and I know personally for me, I like needed this song after a song like "Doing Time," because this song is great. I mean, I use this word a lot on this channel, but it's fantastic. This song is amazing for many different ways, for many different reasons. So the intro is just kind of guitars, and the drums kind of carry this intro. It's a very beating, sort of pounding intro, and then the main riff kicks in, and it reminds everyone of "Sad But True" by Metallica. And I mean, call me a hypocrite because I just said this about "Doing Time," but like I don't mind it. It sounds like, I don't know. It still sounds like an Avenged Sevenfold riff, especially up to this point with the album. Like, it doesn't sound like too out of place, and it just, it's not in the same key, and it still sounds good to me. It's not going to affect my enjoyment of the song. It's just not. And the lyrics on this song are fantastic. fantastic. Wow. Um, the song is just littered with good lyrics. I mean, you can tell that when he was writing this song, when M Shadows was writing the song, he took he took a very he was very careful about the lyrics that he wrote for the song because it's just each section has so much meaning. I mean, um, it's kind of like a free verse poem, but it's got like tons of meaning. And then you get to the chorus. I'm kind of jumping all over the place here, but you get to the chorus, the "This Means War" chorus, and I don't mind that it's just kind of a repeated phrase sort of chorus. He says it with enough punch and with enough attitude for it not to get dull. Um, yeah, and then you get to the solo. It's a pretty good solo. Nice, like, sort of whammy bar sort of solo. Um, but yeah, I mean the lyrics never get dull because like they're just like never ending lyrics that you could take in just many different ways, and you could take them this way or that way, and it's totally up to interpretation. There are a lot of lyrics to interpret, and this song, that's the best way I can describe it. It just like it never gets boring because of the lyrics are amazing because there are a lot of them. The riff is good, the solo is good. I even, like I said, I even don't mind the chorus. Very, very good song. All right, next song on the album is called Requiem. Rec, Requiem, Rec, gosh, sorry. Requiem. All right, I'm gonna moving on. I'm sure one of those times I pronounced it right. Um, but it starts out with this very dark sort of choir. Um, and up to this point, except for doing time, really, this album has this theme of darkness, of just very bleak picture. And not only is it's kind of this haunting choir, but they're like chanting. Um, it's kind of it's very short, very staccato, very packs a punch, and it definitely gives way to the intro because the intro is almost kind of this like shotgun sort of intensity. Not in craziness, just in like pounding intensity, guitars, drums, bass. Um, it just leads to this very just dark. It just paints this very like dark, bleak picture, and it's great. And then you get to the bridge, which I think is super cool. It's like this. It's almost like a priest like saying just these um, just these dark things. It's definitely not like a happy-go-lucky sort of sermon, but it's kind of these are words you need to hear, or you're going to hell sort of thing. Um, Solo's decent. It sort of whammy bar ish, kind of like This Means War, but yeah, the song is very bleak. The choir just like drives it home, and it's definitely got this sort of shotgun intensity. Once again, not in craziness, not in all over the place, but very focused and very dark. All right, next song on the album is called Crimson Day, and this is a ballad. This is the first ballad we get from the album. But it feels like a beautiful breather, especially what you've gotten from this point. Um, it's not just like, oh, we're gonna stick a ballad here because every album at least needs a ballad, but like it's very especially all the intensity that you've gotten to this point. This is a beautifully constructed, like, breath of fresh air. This is kind of like your cool drink of water before you go back into the burning sun. And considering that summer is right around the corner, it's kind of fitting. Um, but yeah, I mean, the song is just the song is beautiful. I mean, the lyrics are great, and they kind of paint this, I don't want to say pretty picture, but like I said, it fits. It the song definitely does its job, and then the guitar solo just fits with the this kind of beautiful optimism of the song, and yeah, just perfectly placed, well constructed, um, just very light, but very Avenged Sevenfold, and it works. It's a song that works. All right, next song on the album is called Heretic, and this song is good. It's all right. It's one of the more skippable songs on the album. Um, I'll give it that it's dark. Um, but other than that, it's just kind of decent. I still listen to it, but I will skip it occasionally. It's kind of at the bottom of the bottom of the food chain when it comes to this album. It's decent. It's dark. It's kind of meh. I'll If you skip it, I don't blame you. I still listen to it occasionally, but yeah, it is what it is. Decent song. All right, next song on the album is called "Coming Home," and yeah, this song is the longest song on the album for a reason, at about 6.5 minutes. Um, yeah, just a great song about, like, someone that has journeyed far and wide, but always longs for home. Kind of has that home base. Like, I've enjoyed it over here and I've enjoyed it over there, but home will always be my safe haven, sort of thing. Um, and this song, especially towards the end, I know I'm jumping around here, guys. Just kind of bear with me. Um, but this song, for the first time on the album, you really get a hint of Aaron's kind of drum speed. Just kind of his hands are, doing some great work. As a as opposed to the just like groove heavy, just keep a good solid beat throughout the album. He's kind of been given some free range on this song, and it shows. He's a good drummer. Um, yeah, and then you get to the bridge. Like I said, I'm jumping around, so I'm backing up just a tad. Um, Sorry, guys, this is just all off the top of my head. Um, so yeah, you get to the bridge, and you get to the start of a guitar solo that's, like, really good, really well constructed, almost big and epic, sort of in nature. Um, and then there's a second guitar solo that the transition is smooth as butter. Like, it's um, it's very, very well constructed, and this middle section is very, excuse me, middle section is very kind of long, epic, kind of some of the most complex moments of the album are in this midsection. Very dynamic, almost Iron Maiden esque, because they're big into kind of epic breakdowns or bridges or middle sections. Very long, drawn out, not necessarily boring, but just very well constructed bridges and middle sections, or breakdowns, or whatever you want to call it. Very, very good song, and with some great drum work. All right, next song on the album is called Planets, And the intro is great. The intro kind of reveals itself, kind of like Shepherd of Fire does. You have this horn, um, and then you have this great, quick, fast-paced sort of drum beat again by Aaron. Um, and then the guitar riff is kind of in the background, and it just kind of brings itself closer and closer and closer. And then for a split second, the guitar riff is the only thing playing, and then boom, you go into the song. Just like Shepherd of Fire, the intros are the both intros are crafted very very well. Um, and Planets, Meteoric War, um, kind of almost very apocalyptic um, in nature, kind of Greek gods starting a war, and we're all feeling it down here on Earth, that sort of thing, or a battle of planets, if you will. If that's probably a better way to say it. Um, and then we get to the chorus, and each time M Shadow says planets, you can tell that like he's really digging into those notes. And it's where, a single word does not get boring in this song, because each time he just digs into the word, with every note, and gives it so much soul and so much power when he says, planets collide. Um, and then we get to the bridge, which brings in the horns again, but kind of with a different aspect. They're kind of spurts of horns here and spurts of horns there, as opposed to like them playing like long, deep notes. Um, you can't defeat them on your own. Weapons are loaded for the final stand, and they're all aimed at you from heaven. Um, Paints just this chaotic, apocalyptic picture of just everyone's fighting, and you're just kind of caught in the middle of it. Yeah, planets collide, and you're just kind of dealing you're just kind of dealing with it in the moment, and we're about to get to the aftermath, because the last song on the album, yes, the last song on the album, kind of killed my momentum, but that's okay, is called Acid Rain, and it's very much a kind of, what am I saying? Just kind of the aftermath, the conclusion to the war. Um, almost, almost like a Planets Part Two sort of thing. Um, Acid Rain. So it opens with like piano. Um, it's got this great like orchestral element in there, and it's very subtle, but the orchestral element on this album is very, very, very good. It's not too much. It's very much in there when it needs to be. It's very appropriate for the album, and I appreciate it for what it is. Um, Our day has come. It's drawn in the sky. Don't shed a tear now. Be thankful for the time. Um, and call me easily impressed, but I'm just going to talk about that specific line for a bit, um, because that just kind of blows my mind. You know, Sorry, I haven't even got. Yeah, don't shed a tear now. Be thankful for the time. Life wouldn't be so precious if there never was an end. I mean, things are great in life because they have an ending. You get to experience them, and then you have the memory of them. That's kind of what makes, kind of what's, it's kind of a part of what makes life great, is like the memory of great times. I mean, things can be good in the moment, and there's something for living in the moment, but life wouldn't be so precious if there never was an end. Memories of, I mean, nostalgia is a huge thing. whether you live something and you want to relive it again because it was so great. It's the memory and the ending of something is just so important to life, and I think that that's awesome. I I love that line. Um, you get a sense throughout this song that things are ending and you have to deal with the end of the war that was raged on planets, whether that's a you know passing of a loved one or just like a fading memory. It's very much an ending. You get the sense of an ending sort of song, and this is why it's just perfect in the album. But it's also, you know, um, don't smile because it's over. I mean, don't be sad because it's over. Smile because it happened. That's a saying that I'm sure you've all heard at some point. Um, but yeah, this it's just a great end to the album. Um, yeah, just perfect. Sort of a part one and part two. Um, so yeah, that's the end of the review. Really, really good album. A great tip of their cap to their influences. Um, it's with a couple exceptions, it's not a rip off. It's just a great. They definitely, in my opinion, they accomplished what they set out to do, and I respect that immensely. Um, a couple more thoughts on Acid Rain. Sorry, guys, this has been my first review in a while, and I'm a little rusty. Um, the orchestral element, not only in the intro, but it kind of stays throughout the song. It's very subtle, but it's very nice. Once again, just kind of that element just kind of in subtle spurts where it needs to be, and nothing more. Um, yeah, and then the song ends with just like this rain effect, but it goes on just a little too long. It's almost as if the band left the studio and forgot to turn the rain machine off. It's just kind of funny. But still a great song. I mean, that's it's kind of a funny note. It's not a degrading note or anything. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, for sticking with me. Like I said, I know this has been my first review in a while, so thank you guys for just watching and continuing to support. Thank you guys for everything. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And God bless you guys. Bye bye.